you, KCIW listeners, for tuning in to the Quality Living with Peaceful Support show. I am Amanda Whittemore, the radio voice of Quality Living. And you all of our listeners out there in the radio airwaves, are welcome to call in at any time. Ready? Get your pen, get your iPhone or your Android and Galaxy, whatever instrument you're using. Write down this number, 541-661-4098. And if you're email savvy, go ahead and email us, contact@kciw.org. That's the best way to participate here on the Quality Living Show with Peaceful Support. Also, listeners and guests are welcome to join us in the studio. We have a station here in Brookings on Main Street, right off of Chetco Avenue. And we often bring in different guests of all calibers. Everybody is welcome. Whatever your story is, everybody has one. We are here with open ears. Today, we have a very unique guest, my favorite in all the galaxies of all the universes. I would like to introduce KCIW listeners to my very own father, Michael Whittemore.
Hello, namaste.
Thank you for being here, Dad, all the way from Costa Rica.
This is correct. Ciudad, Costa Rica. Ciudad Colón, the city is called, which means City of Columbus.
City of Columbus. So there's an argument, a historical argument. We'll just get right into it. People want to know, did Great Britain conquer Costa Rica or did the Spaniards?
Spaniards.
Okay, because some of our history books say Great Britain, and the Costa Ricans will very much vouch for Great Britain being the ones that took over Costa Rica respectfully, and that a lot of the indigenous tribes fought off the Spaniards and conquered them. That's kind of the story the Costa Ricans told me.
Yeah. But Great Britain, I never heard of Great Britain. I've heard of German ancestries, that there's a lot of them here. Except that the town alone, Romershire, here, it's called Romershire. That's not a Latino name.
That's a German name?
German, Romershire.
Romershire. Huh, a little bit of Costa Rican history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Costa Rica is probably the place I would rather live, and I know that Brookings, Oregon is the perfect weather for you, Dad.
Right. I know, we're in the wrong place, huh?
Yeah. You love that beautiful, just perfect temperature, 65 degrees, maybe 70.
Go take I'll take the boogie board into the ocean. I don't care.
Right, exactly. Well,
I like cold water.
Here,
when you go to the ocean, it's like bath water. Swear to God, I mean bath water. When you go into the ocean, it's like warm water.
Right. I
don't like warm water oceans.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I really do prefer it. If I have to have a wetsuit, I'm not going anywhere near it.
No, it doesn't bother me.
Nice. Well, one day maybe we'll trade places.
Sure.
Awesome. Well,
trade apartments, because you got mine and then I'll give you yours.
Okay, perfect. That'd be fun. Tell the listeners a little bit about you. Maybe my most favorite story about my dad is that you grew up as a Navy brat. I like that one.
Oh, true.
People don't even know what that is.
A Navy brat is, my father was in the Navy, and I grew up on naval bases all over the world. I started out in Naples, Italy. I was born there, and my mom and dad thought it'd be a great idea, since we're Catholics, let's get them baptized at St. Peter's Cathedral. So I was baptized at St. Peter's Cathedral. But the funny story is, when they drove up to Rome from Naples, because Naples is down south, when they drove up, they brought an Italian-English interpreter. Well, the only priest on duty that day was a German who didn't speak Italian. And he didn't speak English. So my dad's going, now what are we going to do? Well, find out the Italian interpreter spoke French, and so did the German priest. So I was born in Naples, Italy, baptized by a German priest speaking French.
That's a good way to start.
Yeah. And the nuns were very angry with my mom and dad because they named me Michael John.
Huh.
Whoever, all the boys in Italy, when they get baptized in St. Peter's, they're called Petro.
Oh, like customary.
Peter. Yes, it's customary to name their sons after St. Peter.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That
Because you're
makes
getting
sense.
baptized there. Yeah, it does. It makes sense. My mom said, no.
That sounds like grandma.
Thank you, but no.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't want
thank you.
to.
Grazie, grazie.
How cute.
Yeah. Yeah, you did have a crazy grandmother. But yeah, here in Costa Rica, I'm kind of like retired, but semi-retired because I taught myself how to teach English in Costa Rica. So I'm a ESL teacher, English as a second language teacher. I've been doing it for 27 years
Mm-hmm.
and love it. I absolutely have so much fun with it because because usually you go into the offices, the corporations, and it's usually at night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're tired. They are really, really tired.
Oh,
Well, my motto is if they're not laughing, they're not learning.
that's so true.
And I just make them laugh, and that gets their adrenaline going again so that they can start thinking.
Right, more oxygen to the brain.
Yep, exactly. And then they can start thinking right, and away we go. And they have a lot of fun.
Nice. And what type of
And I get a lot of,
Mhm.
I get, in the beginning, I used to teach children, which I do not have patience for anymore.
children being like, because I consider myself a child. What age would you
High
say?
school.
High school. Okay.
High school,
All right.
that's a child. Yeah, and the only reason it worked was because the Latina mothers would grab them by the back of the ear, hold onto their ear, and walk them to my house and say, "You're going to learn English."
Oh,
See, mommy, see. And they
llorando.
learned English. I thought I was a great teacher, but what it was is mom's going to whoop their bum.
Oh,
And if they didn't get that English, I took students from 40% up to 80% within 2 months. I thought I was the best teacher in the whole wide world.
well, of course you are.
Yeah. But now I mainly just teach conversational English because the biggest thing is self-confidence in speaking a second language. It's very embarrassing because you think they're critiquing you, but what they're doing is saying, "Hey, God, you speak English." Here in United States or in Costa Rica, when I go help somebody at the cash register because they don't speak any Spanish, and I said, "Can I help you, sir?" "Oh, thank you."
Right.
And then I'll talk to the cashier in Spanish. My Spanish isn't all that great, but I can get around.
Right. Well, 25 plus years.
Yeah, but I've been a English teacher all that time. That's all I do is talk English.
And one of the best parts that you taught me that I tried to, what is the word? Incorporate into my world with different activities is zero tolerance. Like when you teach them English and they're in your class, you don't speak any Spanish with them.
No, zero.
Right.
Zero. And they say, "Well, how are they going to learn?" Well, it's really easy. You bring an apple and say, "Apple."
True. Yeah.
Teacher,
Teach.
student.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
Bring teacher apples.
Right. Did they get that part?
It's the law.
Of course. Yep. You get an A if you bring the teacher an
Yes.
apple.
Right. A is for apple. See, they learn really quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's all
But
types
that's
of
what you do. You don't teach them different pronouns or adjectives. Or no, but you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
because how did you learn English? You didn't get it from a book.
Nope.
You got it from your mom and dad talking to you in English. Well, that's how you got to start, talking to them in English, only in English.
And then just because I'm curious, when did I start reading, or how did that happen? Like just thinking about you and mom teaching me English to speak, and then when does reading come about?
Reading comes about, well, in your when you were growing up, because it's different now. Now they're reading at like 3 or 4 years old. But I don't think you learned how to read until your first grade.
Wow.
Yep. That's when you learned how to read. See, spot, run, spot, run.
Right.
You know, it's based off of repetition.
Mm-hmm.
And because you hear mommy or no, no, no.
Right.
And the favorite word of all children, mine.
For sure. But then, they have a different, so with your students, you bring them into the class, or they got brought by their mom by their ears, and then you qualify them, or you set them in different categories.
Yes, I because I've been doing it so long now, but before I used to give it was an evaluation form, and they would have listening on it, then they'd have reading comprehension on it, and then they would have fill in the blanks on grammar, and it would give them choices, and you because it always starts out basic and then it gets harder and then harder, because in any language you have 6 levels, and they're A1 and A2, B1 and B2, and C1 and C2. A's are basic, B's are intermediate, and C's are advanced, and actually C2 is native. So a Costa Rican can never become a C2. They can only become a C1. That's as far as they can go. Because they're always going to have an accent. You don't lose accents.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Unless
you don't lose them.
Right.
Look at my mom. My mom and dad are from Boston. And my mom, she went back to Boston for a couple of weeks, and she came back to like California or Nevada, where we were at. I couldn't understand her. I don't know what you're saying, Mom. Tonic? What tonic?
Right.
And then my Uncle Jack, I didn't even understand him. I said, Uncle Jack, where's my shoes? He goes, Indica. I go, where's Indica? I don't know where Indica is. Is that a closet? No, in the car. I looked at my Aunt Mary and I went, Aunt Mary, where are my shoes? Did you hear your Uncle Jack? They're in the car. They're in the car. Now I'm really confused. And this is when I was 16 years old. I'm going, I'll never find my shoes again. And then my cousin came in and said, Michael John, they're in the car.
In the car.
Why did they say that? They did. I heard them 4 times. In the car, in the car, in the car. I tell that to my students and I say, don't worry about it. You're always going to have an accent. Mm-hmm. Always, because you're learning it late. Because when you learn it as an adult, it really, your language center separates more, so that it's farther apart when it's interacting with your native language and going back to a fluent language that you know. The only way that works is if you're under 5 years old. You can teach a child 5 languages at one time.
Huh.
At 5 years old, because they have no conscious. They have only a subconscious. And that's another long story with paradigms.
Really? Well, I'm going to have to
Oh,
write
yeah.
that down to make sure I call you. And I do that. I'll call you from the radio station so we can talk
Sure.
about it.
That would be a
Subconscious.
4-hour program.
Okay, we'll have to break it up in sections.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because that
conscious.
you're talking about your conscious. You're born with a subconscious. So if you notice, children accept everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mm-hmm.
They're my favorite. As you remember, when you couldn't get a popsicle open and you brought it to me, Daddy, can you open the popsicle? And I said, you do realize there's a 10% service charge.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And there goes half my
Because you were
popsicle.
taught that. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. That's
So
true.
that's why.
Yeah.
So they have no subconscious. I mean, they have no conscious. So once they get about 8, I think, is when they really pick up their. That's when they say no. A 2-year-old's going to say no because they're just a brat.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They just want it all their way. But that's different than having a subconscious and a conscious.
And they just learned
Your
no.
conscious is the one that says, that teaches you, like if you come from a poor family and all you hear when you're a child, we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't have money. You change that child's paradigm into poor. You
Mm-hmm.
made them poor.
Mm-hmm. By the repetition.
Exactly, because that's all they heard.
Oh.
And that went right into their subconscious. That's like putting out like an empty wine glass and you're filling it with wine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the subconscious, and you're telling everything what you want it to do. And a child will learn their personality and what they're going to do in life by the time they're 8.
Really? Huh. Well,
Well, their conscious will fix it at that part. That's what they say. That's why I think I've always been middle class. My dad was always middle class. There was nothing wrong with that.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm middle class.
Yeah, we made it to the middle.
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah.
All the way there.
It's a huge achievement.
Oh, heck yeah.
And so with your English, teaching English as a foreign language, what is the most difficult part?
The most difficult is, I would say, if they don't get it.
Mm.
And you try different ways to teach them how. Because what I do is, people think that you're getting a test. Well, you are. You're getting a test to see what you know. But actually, a teacher's looking at all the tests, and he's seeing the pattern. If the pattern shows that all of them got this area wrong, well, then you didn't do your job in teaching.
Mm.
So you need to go back to that section and teach them that again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's what I do. It's a report card for me. Whenever I give a quiz or an exam, that's a report card for me saying, okay, let's see how good I did.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And this is different from school because usually these people, especially the ones I teach in corporations, and now I'm teaching online, but they want to learn English, or they have to learn English, because I don't know, I can't tell you how many times I've had people call me and say, I just got this new job and now I'm a manager and my English isn't as good as I told them it was.
Uh-oh.
And I said, if you think this pen is a magic wand, you're crazy.
Right.
It ain't going to happen.
Oh. What?
It takes an average of 100 hours of class time, not including your homework, because
Oh.
God forbid you don't do my homework, because I'll fail you.
And it will show, obviously, without the practice.
Oh, of course. Of course. But sometimes people try to cheat and do that, but it's not often. That's why they never get the tests back, because we're teaching at corporations.
Right.
Well, if I give them the test back, they're going to give it to the next. Hey, take care. Now you're going to make sure you get really good on the test.
Yeah.
when you have the next class.
I'm having the same experience with real estate.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yep. Yeah, it's difficult, but it's worth
Yeah.
it. And I feel, I mean, I'm thankful that I did have you teaching me as a kid, because I
hmm
study so hard, and people ask, they're like, why don't you give yourself a little bit of grace? I'm like, there's no room for mercy.
No, yeah, there is no mercy.
It's like, we need to win the Super
You
Bowl.
can't handle the truth.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot, if you want it to work, you have to put the work in.
Yep. I learned that from your grandfather, my dad, because like I said, he was military, so it was very strict. I only knew military time when I was growing up.
Mine's on it right now.
Well, we're gonna go to the matinee at 3:00. I went, in the morning?
Exactly.
Are you crazy? I'm only 8 years old. What are you talking about? In the afternoon? Oh, you mean 1500?
Yes, cause
Okay.
yeah, there's only 1-3.
Yeah. In my house,
Exactly. That's very
you will be home at 1600. Yes, sir.
which is, yeah,
5.
exactly. Well,
Six,
it's
yeah.
1555. Really, it's not 1600.
Yeah. Or no, mine was 1800. I had to be home by 1800, which was, I think it was, let me see if I remember right, 16, 17, no, not 18, 2000, 9 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
See, I don't even remember it now. It's been quite a few. It's been a few years since I was a Navy brat.
Yeah,
About 50.
I only have military
50
time
years.
because I don't want to mix things up or make a mistake, by glancing at
That
something,
makes
and
sense.
reading the wrong time and showing up for a wrong appointment somewhere at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm supposed to be there at 3 in the afternoon. Well, Dad, there's two questions that we do
Sure.
on the Quality Living with Peaceful Support show. We
I
ask,
love living in Brookings.
oh, good. I know some. What is the word? Via my stories that I share with you.
Yeah.
How do you
I
call
wish
that?
I could either.
In vitro, or what is it when you live vicariously through my
Vicariously. Thank you.
vicariously? There it is. Yeah, I'm not an English teacher. I'm just a yoga teacher. Oh, so on the show we like to ask our guests, what does quality living represent to you?
Quality living.
How do you find that in your world, or what does it mean to you?
And quality living to me is when you're not pinching pennies.
Hmm.
I'm not saying you got like $1 million in the bank account, but you're not. If you're living from check to check, that's not, to me, that's not quality living. And I've done it many, many years.
Yeah, holding your breath till the next one comes
I
in.
feel a lot more quality living now at my older age than I did trying to beat up the world and grab all the brass rings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not grabbing those brass rings. I haven't grabbed those brass rings in 30 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's what I call quality living. It's being happy. If you're not happy, you don't have quality.
I agree. Absolutely. How about, how do you see peaceful support, or what does peaceful support mean to you in your everyday life, or in your world?
No drama.
Uh,
It's kind of hard to do with humans because but peaceful is you gotta do like what you do. I don't do it. I don't know if you do the om in your yoga stuff.
totally.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't. For peaceful and support, it's just you have to have, what is it called? I'm looking for. You have to feel assured of yourself. Assertive, not assertive. You have to be assured of yourself, and If you're relaxed, your body's going to be relaxed. If you're tight and you're tense and you're stressed, your body's going to be tense. And what is disease? Dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a sickness. It's a dis-ease in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why plants can fix it all, right?
Of course. Of course. We love the plant
Herbs,
world.
plants. You don't need pills. You don't need injections into your arm.
Right. No.
You know,
Yeah. Just
popping pills. You don't need it. Use natural. That's what I feel is peaceful support.
that's very, very true. I love that, and thank you for sharing, because it's always a different response. I think this is show number 63 or something. I probably said that.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and we've never had anybody say the same answer. It's all been completely
Good.
different responses, which is just makes it more exciting and fun.
Of course, definitely.
And well, what else is there about peaceful support? It's just that I learned a lot of it from, growing up. A lot of people didn't get support, and so or to live that quality lifestyle. And even though as simple as it was, I learned the difference between what is quality and what is not, the hard way. And
Right.
and the different types of support. There's support, but it may not be for going on the path that you want to be on. It's really
True.
strange how there's different types of support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm very glad to learn about peaceful support and be able to share it with the rest of the world.
Yeah, when I was in the States working for my 20 years, I was in the food service industry, and they had a system called QSC, quality, cleanliness, and service.
Oh,
If you
perfect.
got all three of those, you got it.
Quality, cleanliness, and service.
Yeah. You go to any restaurant that has those three on the top three, you're going to have good food and a clean place and great service.
Well, thank you, Dad. I appreciate you, and
You're
we'll do
welcome.
this again. Thank you so much for being on the Quality Living
Alrighty.
Show. Love you.
I love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.